Hey guys, welcome to our final episode of our Come and See series. Over this series, we've been trying to intentionally look and see things about Jesus we might not have before. Last week, we talked about how it's important to not just know Jesus, but to experience a relationship with him. And this week, we're going to talk about something that I think affects each and every one of us. It's the idea of endurance, the idea of perseverance. Because you see, things in life can get messy. Things in life can get difficult, whether it's your athletics, whether it's your academics, whether it's your hobbies, whether it's your relationships. Something can come along that makes it hard. You might be overwhelmed. You might be overbooked. You might find yourself too tired. You might find yourself hurt. You might find yourself lost. You might find yourself confused. Something happens where it makes things harder. And we have to come to the question, do I keep doing it? Do I keep practicing for my ACTs? Do I keep working on this school project? Do I keep working out and preparing for my meets? Do I keep dancing and going to rehearsals for my play? Do I keep working on the music I need to perform in a concert? Whatever it might be, we eventually have to ask ourselves, do we keep going? Do we keep pushing? It's something that each and every one of us struggles with, but the thing is, it doesn't stop at our hobbies, it doesn't stop at our athletics, it doesn't stop in our relationships, it doesn't stop in our academics. It also happens in our faith. Because you see, sometimes we can get this idea that we choose to believe in Jesus, and then once we have a relationship with him, he's going to solve all of our problems, he's going to fix all of our issues, and it's going to be easy, and it's going to be glorious, and it's going to be amazing. And while there are still going to be incredible life-changing things, Jesus never promises us a perfect, easy life. He promises us a life worth something, a life that works towards something greater than ourselves, something that brings goodness and love into this world. But the thing is when you have to work towards something, you might need to endure. You might need to persevere. And when it comes to our faith, there are going to be days where we need to persevere. And there are many different ways this can happen. Maybe you have questions, you have doubts, and you're not sure if you can believe in Jesus, or you're not exactly sure how you're supposed to live out your faith, and you think that you can't get past these questions, but you might need to find the endurance to keep asking those questions and to seek answers, to find community that helps you understand. Or maybe you find yourself overbooked and exhausted and you can't find time to go to church, or it's hard for you to find time to engage with God on your own, whether it's through scripture reading or prayer. Or maybe you are having a hard time being open and vocal about your faith. You're having a hard time sharing who God is with others and inviting others into it, and you're not exactly sure how to move forward, how to live out your faith. But here's the thing, guys. You're not alone in that. This is something we all struggle with. This is something we all have to handle. We all will come to a place more than once where we have to ask, how do I move forward? And I want us to look at some words in the book of Hebrews. But first, I want you to understand what's going on in this book. You see, some earlier Christians, they were being persecuted. They were being persecuted, and it was getting so bad that they were starting to give up. They were tired of being hunted. They were tired of being condemned. They were tired of being killed, and they started to convince themselves, this is not worth it. I'm going to leave. But the author of Hebrews was writing to these Christians to encourage them on why it mattered that they endured, that they persevered. And it's in Hebrews 12, verses 1 through 3, and I want to read that for you guys. Here's what it says. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. What I love about these verses is I find it challenging and encouraging. And I don't know if you do too. You see, We are being told to not allow ourselves to be entangled by the sin and things that can throw us off of the race that we are running. The race that matters. And what I think I want you guys to understand is if you've ever done a race, if any of you have ever done a marathon or seen a marathon, you understand it's difficult. It's not a sprint. It's not over in 20 seconds with all of a sudden shouts of glory. No, it takes time, and it is not easy. It takes commitment, and these racers who are running this race have to know the end, have to know their goal, because they cannot see the finish line for most of the time. For most of the race, they just have to keep their eyes set on what matters, and that is the idea of finishing. And I think what's so amazing is that they are surrounded by people. They are surrounded by people alongside the marathon, cheering them on, encouraging them, giving them water. And we want you to know that you're not alone in your race. That we are encouraged not only by the people that we do life with, not only the people that we do faith with, but by the people that also came before us. Because we're running a race that matters. I think it's easy for us to maybe hear this race and think this is a race we run alone, but it is not. Countless human beings have run this race alongside you, and countless human beings have run this race before you. And what is the race? The race is our lives. And we might not be able to see the end. We may not be able to see the finish line, but like a marathon runner, we have to figure out how to keep our eyes on the goal. For them, the goal was finishing that race. For us, the goal is Jesus. It's Jesus, guys. We are called to run the race, to live out our lives pursuing Jesus, to endure what is difficult, to endure things we don't understand, to persevere through things we question or things that overwhelm us, because we know that Jesus is more important. We know that brighter days will come, things will get easier, and we will learn and we will grow and we will be stronger because of it. But we don't waver, we don't quit, no matter how hard it is. Because we don't lose sight of what is important. We don't lose sight of what we are called to. And so I want to remind you guys what we are called to do. And I think it's two things, two big things that we are called to do to not lose sight of, especially if we are looking at Jesus being the end goal of our race. And the first is in Romans 12, verse 2. I think Paul put it beautifully, the first goal we're running after, and it's this. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. You see, what Paul is calling us to, what he is reminding us of in these verses, is that we are called to shape ourselves after Jesus. We are called to pursue him and become more and more like him as we learn more and more about him. As we invite Jesus into our life, as we invite Jesus to run the race with us, slowly we can start to see us run in tandem with him. Run at his pace. That doesn't mean we're going to do things perfectly, guys. But it means that we're pursuing something that is good, something that stands out, something that changes lives, and it's him. That is the first goal we're after. If we are chasing Jesus in the race that is our life, then we first and foremost need to be shaping ourselves after him. Not allowing ourselves to be dictated by the world, be dictated by the ideas of fame and success and anything that's a slippery slope. While they're good things, if they are what we deem our worth in, if they are what we decide is the most important thing in our life, we've lost sight of the goal. The goal is always Jesus. And the next thing is in Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20. This is the second goal that we are supposed to be pursuing when running our race, and it's from the words of Jesus. And so I'm going to read it to you guys. This is what it says. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." You see, guys, The final thing that Jesus is calling us to, the second goal for us to keep our eyes on him as we are running this race. The first is to shape ourselves after him, to be more and more like him in the way we live, in the way we interact, and what we do, what we value. But then finally, is to invite others in. To go and make disciples of all nations, to go and share the love of Jesus with as many people as you can, bring as many people as you can to know him so that they can run the race alongside you, so that they can set their eyes on the goal that is Jesus. And I'm not saying that's an easy thing. But if we keep that in the back of our mind, if we remember each and every day as we wake up, how today do I connect with Jesus as an individual? How today do I learn more about him? And then how today do I invite others to know him as well? If we keep our eyes on that and we remember it, then we will run our race well. And that doesn't mean it will be easy. We'll definitely have to endure. But the truth is the more we get to know Jesus, the more we get to understand how we shape ourselves after him, the easier it will be for us to handle the things we do not understand, to handle the things that are difficult. And the more that we invite others in to know Jesus, the more people we'll have running alongside us in our faith, the more we'll have support when things get hard. These goals not only benefit God's kingdom and God's people, but it benefits us as well. Guys, it can be easy to get lost and think things are too difficult or that you can't keep running. I think the first time I really experienced this and really had to question it in my faith was pretty quickly after I gave my life to Christ. Only 6 months after I had decided to become a Christian and pursue a relationship with him, life got really busy. I started track. And all of a sudden, I was working out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I had a job. And by the time Sunday came and I was supposed to go to youth group, I was too tired to go. I became too tired and I was too exhausted, and I lost sight of what was important. I lost sight about how youth group and pursuing God was important for my spiritual growth. And I not only stopped going to youth group, but then I stopped reading my Bible and I stopped praying, and eventually I got embarrassed, and I was embarrassed that I wasn't reading. I was embarrassed that I wasn't praying. I was embarrassed that I wasn't going to church. But eventually I had to learn and understand that it was important that I kept going. Even though I had gotten distracted, even though things had gotten a little bit difficult in my life, if I was intentional, if I chose to persevere and put in a little bit more effort to find the times for me to read the Bible, to find time for me to pray, to find time for me to preserve my energy so that I would have the energy to go to church, things would be a little bit easier, and they were. I went through a slump. I think that's the right word to use. I went through a slump in my faith, and the thing is that I've gone through many. A race is full of hills. Some that are difficult to run up to and some that we quickly run down from. Some that are easy and some that are hard, but it's important for us to keep our eyes on Jesus, to keep our eyes on how do we continue to personally grow in him even when things are difficult, and how do we continue to invite others in to know who he is even when it's hard. So here's what I want to challenge you guys in today, and I want you to be asking yourself, are you one of these three things? Are you still trying to decide if the race is worth running? You have your doubts, you have your questions, you're not sure what it means for you to have faith, and you're not sure if you have what it takes to run this race. And if you are in this section, I want to encourage you to ask questions, to share, to talk to your small group leader, talk to me, talk to your friends, figure out what it is that is holding you back from pursuing these goals, from pursuing a life with Jesus. The next is do you need strength? Do you need to figure out how to become more like Jesus? Focus on the first goal that he gives us. How do you need to be shaping your day-to-day life to reflect more of who Jesus is? How do you need to be intentionally engaging with him? And then finally, are you in the third one where you need to find the strength to start inviting others into a journey with Jesus? Inviting others to know his love, experience his grace, and allow them to have their lives transformed by Jesus. What does that look like? How can you be pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to invite others in to the relationship with Jesus that you also have? So those are the three things. Are you at the point where you don't know if you're cut out for this race? Are you still trying to figure out what this race looks like for you? Or are you trying to figure out how to invite others into this race as well? As you try to figure that out and discuss it, guys, I really want to challenge you to be intentional. Be intentional to know that it's important that we persevere, that we endure. Because our end goal, the thing that we are running towards, Jesus, is absolutely worth it. All right, guys, stick around for announcements and then you'll head to small group. Hey guys, we have quite a few announcements for you, so please pay attention because I want you to know what is going on over the next couple weeks. The first is we have Bible study this Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. We are continuing our book of John, but then I also want you to know that there is no Bible study the following week. So there's Bible study this week, no Bible study next week, and then we'll start back up again after that. Next, guys, is we have no Impact Online next Sunday. Why is that? It's because it is 4th of July. So you guys can go enjoy the holiday with your family, or you and your family can attend our one service that all of South Lake is providing on Sunday at 10 a.m. We're going to be combining Elevating the Impact for an outside game day. So if you're interested in coming and playing games, maybe eating some popsicles and having some fun, please show up or enjoy the holiday, maybe go see a parade or something. So that's what we have going on the 4th. And then finally, guys, I want you to be aware that we have an event coming up on July 18th. Instead of Impact Lunch this month, you're still gonna go after Impact to go pick up lunch and come back, but then we are going to be having a Smash Brothers tournament. Now, I know you're thinking this is just an event for the boys, but no, it is not. I need the ladies to show up, and we need to fight for the right to sign the trophies. So please come show up on July 18th. Let's see who can get first, second, and third place, and we hope to see you there. All right, guys, you can head to small groups.